Danielle, is the link on the website? It is? Okay.
Yeah, we go live, so we can't post it until right at the start of the meeting when the link goes live. So it's usually like 5 minutes before. So right now we're live. And Ben is posting it.
Now that makes sense. Sorry. I just
No.
reread your text.
It's all good. Hey, Sarah, can you see my screen? Okay.
I got a photo up, even though I don't like what it looks like, but it's there.
Hi, Nancy. How are you?
I'm doing okay. Getting better every day.
Oh, good.
I apologize for not making it to some of these meetings, but it's just been an up and down for the last few months.
Understand.
Good evening, everybody. It looks we are a little short on a quorum, so we'll hang out for just a moment. Lakeisha's not going to be here tonight, so they've put me in charge of flying the plane today. And then we've also, I think Lori may be running just a few minutes late, so we might see her closer to 6:30. There's
Amy
Chuck.
and Chuck just
Yep,
entered,
they just
Stephen.
showed up. I see that. That is fantastic. So we have enough to do
And
our
Tiffany
thing.
is entering.
Oh, excellent. That's wonderful. Now we have enough to do our stuff. I'll give Tiffany a moment. There she is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right, we're sufficient quorum is present, so we can go ahead and begin. And so I would ask that we have a motion to go ahead and call the meeting to order this evening.
I so move.
Yay. And then we need a second as well.
Second.
Thank you. And then all in favor of starting the meeting. I don't actually know by like parliamentary procedure if you actually have to have a vote to start the meeting, but I think the chair can just call it to order, but this is what we've always been doing. So I'm not going to rock the boat on my first go around. So everybody good to start the meeting? All right. So we have begun. Our first item of interest is to look at the approval of the minutes from the February 15th meeting. If you've had a moment to take a look at those, are there any corrections or comments that anyone has regarding those minutes? All right, hearing no corrections, I'll take a motion to approve the minutes from February 15th, 2022.
I move that we approve the minutes of February 15, 2022.
Thank you, Chuck. And then I need a
For
second
the
on
March
that.
minutes, the,
Thank you, Tiffany. Nancy, you're taking minutes, correct?
I am, yes. Mhm.
Thank you. Perfect. Okay. So do we have any visiting parent or community members or faculty that have asked to speak in our public comment period this evening?
None came in for me.
Did you say none, Nancy?
None that came in on my email.
Okay. Danielle or anyone else?
Yeah, so Lisa just informed me that I didn't see the email, but there was an email from a parent that would like to speak, but it must have been from earlier today, and I haven't sent her the link, so she's probably on the Zoom link. Maybe I can stop sharing and try to send her the link.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Just
That would
received
be-
it as part of the Google form that's on our website. So I just wanted to alert everybody. I'm glad to email her since I have that also.
Oh, thank you. Could you do that, please?
Yeah, so
But-
send
and-
her the Zoom link. Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah, we can hang for just a second while we wait for that, if that's all right.
and Stephen, can you review with us how that works with visiting parents? They speak for a certain number of minutes.
So it's a 2-minute time limit.
Okay.
For them to say whatever they would like to say. And then the board is not allowed to respond directly to that commentary, but we
Okay.
certainly listen and take into consideration whatever comments are made.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we can wait just a sec if we want to. If you just let me know when our parent has arrived, we can do that. This is a little easier in person when you've got people sitting there.
Right, exactly.
Do we have a faculty or student presentation this evening or no?
No, not tonight.
Okay. We'll take just a moment.
I'll wait for a response also, but it's been sent.
Thank you.
If we don't hear back in a couple of minutes, we could move to the finance report, and then we can always come back if we needed to for commentary. Let's wait another 30 seconds or so though.
Lisa, did you say the Google form had been looked at too? Because I know there was the Google form and then the email was the,
I built the Google form, so I happen to be somebody who receives the responses.
Right.
I thought Nancy and Danielle were receiving them also. So that's why I just wanted to alert people that the form came through today. I
Okay.
don't have any emails requesting, just the Google form.
okay, all right, yeah. I just wanted to make sure that someone had eyes on that and that I heard you mention that, so I just wanted to make sure. Okay,
We should probably take a look at that process and make sure that it's nice and clean going forward. The Google form thing, I like that. It works really well. Lisa and I share interest in things. All right. If there is not an objection, I will, just for the sake of time, I know we have several people here tonight this evening. So let's go ahead. If it's all right, I'd like to go ahead and suggest that we let Ben go ahead and present regarding finance. And then we can come back to our public comment period. So
Ben, did you want me to share the budget on my screen?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
And I'm going to look at it a little differently here. So what I wanted to, the number one thing I think I wanted to bring to everybody's attention, this is that time of year where we are going through, and it seems like we've been doing that a lot this year, and we have, but for the better, though it's taken longer, going through and making sure that we are taking proper inventory and proper accounts payable through grants for items. Some of you may or may not know what we have to do with the number of grants is the school has to pay out in general ahead of time, and then the grant funding does come, but it may come later in a number of instances. So I wanted to just make everybody aware of that housekeeping matter that goes along with preparing to close out the budget for the end of the school year and then begin to build the budget for the following school year. At this point, we are still on tap with our projections to be close to the zeroing out after my conversations with Acadia with our budget. And there will be some areas of carryover. I don't want to get into those right now because we are reconciling at this time. I had hoped that we would be able to present more to you concrete for this evening, but it's just a bigger process, and we are working with Acadia on that. I want to bring you down to the bottom of the budget, and because most people will take a look at that and see the deficit of 81,000. What I wanted to remind everybody, which is why I started with the grant aspect, is a fair chunk of that the school has had to pay out of operating to cover some expenses that will be taken care of through the DHHS health grant. We have not received those funds yet. Nobody can really tell us when that's happening, but it is happening. So I just wanted to bring that to folks' attention that to a fair degree, quite a bit of that will be resolved through the replenishment and reimbursement through that grant for expenses that we've paid out already. We are working now. We've had a number of budget meetings, including today, where we are gathering the information and inventories of what has been spent so far this year in preparation, like I said, for closing out this budget and moving into the auditing process that's required by us or by the state, and then preparation for next year's budget. So we will, with each presentation, we'll be able to get a little closer to a much more concrete timeline for you. So there we are with that. Does anybody have any questions about the budget?
I would just ask before, if there's anything out before if others have any questions or comments, could you just make a brief comment about just overall, status, health, how, kind of the big picture of how we're doing budget wise in, financially in general? We are in a good place.
We are not having cash flow issues. But as presented to the faculty the other day, over the next through 2024, we will be losing funding that was provided by the CARES Act, that offered some additional funding that we normally wouldn't have. Our faculty is aware of that, that there will be a returning to what was normal. So I don't want to overstate a situation. We will be returning to more of an operating budget where we were prior to pandemic, if that makes sense.
Okay, thanks.
There we go. Now, I did want to, let me get back here to the agenda. I wanted to discuss some of the facilities improvements that we have going on. With that, just to give everybody an update, the sign for the monument sign for the Shipyard Boulevard entrance has been ordered. And so right now they have not been able to give me an installation date, but that has been ordered. In addition, we have completed the filming to reduce glare and try to help with heating, HVAC cost, air conditioning cost in the gym. We've had the west and east facing windows mirrored to reduce, like I said, heat and glare. And we are have several other regenerative projects, if you would, that have been ordered, and regarding mulch for the playgrounds. And we are also working with we have a new playground team made up of a few parents and staff members, and we are working on an overall campus plan for improvement. And with that leads me into the introduction. One of the big projects that we have that we do need to do as far as maintenance of the building is we need the floors replaced. They are at a point where they've still been adhered. They still adhere. However, they have just met their lifespan and are becoming increasingly difficult to clean and maintain properly. And we have received several flooring quotes for this project that was introduced. And so what I would like to do is introduce for further consideration. Now, it hasn't gone to the Finance Committee. It will next week, or actually they've received it this evening, the quotes for discussion for next week in preparation for a recommendation to the board. It is estimated based on the quotes, that's to be a $200,000 project. And with that project, obviously it would improve the aesthetic of the building. It would be lower overall maintenance costs and a 20 to 30 year warranty as well on those on that flooring. But I did want to go ahead and introduce to the board that we would be requesting, in order to complete the project, an estimated $200,000 for that. In addition, the other big project that we need to complete is the interior painting, excuse me, interior painting of the school, classrooms, hallways, and then the most pressing painting issue would be the painting of the gym and music room. And that combined would be another estimated $40,000, but can be broken up into areas. With the interior painting, it is not, though we would like to, it is not feasible to do everything, all of the classrooms this go round and do it all at once, but rather do the common areas at once, and then get the classrooms as well as common areas on a maintenance schedule with painting. So we can better budget in the future for these maintenance needs. The gym, the interior is estimated, and this would be for the entire building on the interior, and we would not be seeking to use all of those funds at once, of 30,000, and then estimated 10,000 to have the gym and the music room painted. Those, in my opinion, are in desperate need more so than the interior of the main building. So in short, to put this on your plates, we would, in order to complete these projects, be needing an estimated 240,000 in total. The bulk of it to be used in one project with the flooring, and then the 40,000 spread over several painting times or painting schedule to get us on a regular schedule, if that makes sense.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board?
Yes, Ben, so this is Nancy.
Hey.
Are you, when you're talking about the painting schedule, are you going to put everything on the painting schedule, the classrooms and the interior parts of the building as well?
Well, yes, but over time, I think if I understood your question correctly. So for example, we would start at one end of the building with reference to the classrooms, and say pick 4 at a time.
Okay,
And so for that year, those 4 would be taken care of. Now, what we would want to do, sorry to skip around, the common areas, the interior hallway, the office, those areas, that would be a one deal project.
okay,
And then with the classrooms, because some need them more than others, and to give deference to those classrooms, we would, do those in batches over time.
okay.
Any other questions?
This might be obvious or simple, but I just don't know the answer. And so it'd be helpful maybe. I'm assuming that things like flooring and painting come from a different fund than the sort of annual operating expenses that are part of a regular school year. First of all, is this true? And then where does this all come from? And then how is that fund doing in terms of what we have and what's going out and things like that?
No, Chuck, good question on that. Honestly, it depends. Some of like the grants that I was speaking of earlier, some of the grants that we have been able to utilize did in fact go to maintenance facilities areas and things like that. And so it really depends. In this instance, what the request would be that those funds come from the contingency funds, which was built by the sale of the Blue Clay property. Now, with that, those funds are finite. And so in order for us to get a head start on that, because we've not really ever been on a maintenance schedule. So for roofs, if an HVAC unit needs to be replaced, this painting, the flooring, the building is 12 years old, and this is that time when those things need attention, just the regular maintenance, just like your house. And what this would afford us the opportunity to do is make those repairs, make some of those upgrades, and then begin to, by getting on a schedule, be able to plan and put a contingency in place, a line item specifically for facility maintenance needs that we can build over time. Does that make sense, Chuck?
It does, and I'm curious who is the committee that would help build this contingency facility maintenance fund.
Should be the finance committee.
Yeah, that would be actually, it would be combined, but mainly the finance committee. But depending on what it is, it might be, input would be sought from others within the school.
Okay, any other questions or comments for Ben, either regarding finance and or facilities? Okay. Hearing none, did we have were we able to bring the parent or the community member in for their comment?
She has not arrived and she has not responded to Lisa's email.
Okay, well, we'll just keep on trucking then, and if and when they show up, we'll slide them right in, no problem.
Okay.
Okay, I'll go ahead and pass the baton over to Susan for HR updates.
So for policy updates, as I believe the board is aware, we are working through each of our sections of policy. We submitted sections 1000 and 2000 to the board for the first reading. And we can talk about that this evening, have a discussion. Once the board is comfortable with moving forward, we will send those policies over to legal for review. During which period legal, our attorney, has agreed to look at the policies for both the accuracy of the policies that exist and also to identify any policies that we might be missing that might be mandatory. So she and her firm will do an audit of the policies as we send them to her. The PPRC is currently working through policy sections 3000 and 4000, which deal with our school operations, curriculum, parents, and students. And then 7,000 are personnel policies as well. Those were the policies that took precedence with regard to discussing this within the PRC, getting feedback from the faculty, and then submitting the series to the board for the first reading. So that's where we are with regard to the policy updates. You also have received the social media policy, which has gone through PPRC and the faculty as well, and the COVID leave policy, which we implemented as a temporary policy or were recommending for a temporary policy for this year. And we would determine whether or not that was necessary moving forward. Our goal was to have a full series of policies, all of them complete by July. I'm not sure how reasonable that is, given that we want to do this right and we want to spend the appropriate amount of time to ensure that everyone understands that we have full legal review and that everybody's on the same page with the policies, because this is a pretty large undertaking. So that's basically a general update of where we are with the policies, but I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
Help if I unmute myself. I still do that after 2.5 years of this. So I'm looking at your email. I think it's Danielle's email actually from March 24th, talking about some of the policies and kind of going over the same process that you just described. And I think there was a mention of the COVID leave and social media possibly coming up in April. I don't know that we're prepared to go forward with those at the moment, because we don't have them loaded into the agenda necessarily. But would we be good to consider those in the May meeting? Is there any?
Yes, sir. Yes, you're not equipped to vote on that right now, just because they have not gone to legal. So that was more of a first reading, familiarizing, having any questions, making any comments that you think were necessary edits.
I was just making sure I wasn't losing my mind in terms of
no.
things that I'm supposed to be having for a first read. Okay, perfect. No, that's fine. All right. So we'll take a look at those, and if we see anything unusual, we can discuss that before coming to the board and do all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely.
Okay, perfect. Thank you.
You're Stephen, welcome. I just wanted to mention that Lara Fritz has joined joined the meeting.
Oh, perfect. This is a perfect time. So I'll pause. Susan, I think you may have an additional little bit of update here in just a second for your hiring updates. I may ask you to pause for just a moment for a public comment. So we have Laura. Laura, there you are. And so the procedure for the comment period is you have 2 minutes, and the board cannot respond to your comments. Of course, we take your comments into consideration and appreciate you taking the time to speak with us. So I'm going to start a timer on my phone. And I'll let you know if you get to the end of your 2 minute period. And
sorry, Stephen, I think she had to go out and she's coming back in. Maybe she had a difficulty.
She's down there, but I don't see the audio. I don't see her audio enabled.
Let me see.
I see her in the participants list, but she's down at the bottom there.
Miss Fritz, can you hear us?
She said in the chat that she's able to access the meeting, but is having issues with the audio side of things. Laura, you may want to try. Amy, it looks like you've tried this, but you may want to try one more time hopping in, and yeah, there you go. There you go.
I think she got it.
Yep. So you could, if you're ready, you can begin whenever you're ready, and I'll start your 2 minute timer.
Sure. Hi. Sorry. I apologize. I'm downtown. We were on our way out to dinner when I got the Zoom link.
No worries.
I'm very concerned. I apologize for missing the first half of the meeting. Maybe it's been discussed. But the change in teacher for the second grade class for Miss Medwick, and the fact that we're being told our kids are in an unsafe environment is really super upsetting. As parents, I think our first priority is making sure our children are safe, and we had assumed that had been happening, and now we're hearing that there are kids that are threatening to kill other kids in the class and throw them all downstairs, and it seems like we're hearing it from everyone else other than the school and the board first, and so that's also very concerning. And I think a lot of parents have a lot of questions that we would like answered earlier than sometime this week.
Thank you for your commentary. We appreciate you taking the time to share with us tonight.
Okay.
So I'm going to turn it back over to Susan to continue her portion of the meeting.
Yes, sir. So for hiring updates, there is not much on this particular part of my piece, but Ben Rose, I'm going to tag him in. He works with our temp agency, and we did recently have a need for a part-time custodian, and we've gone through the temp agency to fill this position, and that person was actually able to start today. So that was very encouraging. This will go through the end of the school year. So right now that's our need that we know we have. And as we go through the budgeting process, we determine what our needs are for next year. So this was a good thing for us as we were able to secure that. So I'll turn it over to Ben.
Thanks, Susan. There's really not much to that in detail. We had a PM position that needed filling, and with the potential for a project like the flooring, normally that part-time position, which is about 20 hours a week, would fill in some during the summer. But because of the project in place, it really wasn't necessary to have that permanent employee on. And so to get us through the remainder of the school year, we decided that the best thing to do, instead of doing a full-on hiring process for just a couple of months was to go ahead and bring in a temp with reevaluation for permanency later towards the start of the school year.
Ben, can you just hold on a second? Something happened and Stephen got kicked out of the meeting. I'm
Okay.
trying to get him back in. If you just give me 1 second. Does anyone know how to add a participant?
At the bottom of your participant list, there's an invite button, but
No, I did that and I sent it to him and he says when he hits on the link, it won't let him join.
what does his error message say?
It says that the host removed him from the meeting.
Like he's blocked or something?
Yeah. Is there a way to like unblock someone? Oh wait, here he is. Thank God.
Teachers, did y'all know you could do that?
No.
Just kidding. Don't answer.
Sorry, Steve. Steven.
Hey, y'all. So it looks like I'm like blocked forever in my CFCI email account to log in. So yeah, I'm on my phone now. So this is it's a little suboptimal, but we can make it work. So yeah, there you go. Thanks. That was awesome. Okay. Yep. I don't know if I missed anything important, but we go back over maybe some stuff that would be helpful.
You're president, by the way, for the next 3 years. Congratulations.
Yay. Well,
We voted.
yay. What a time to be alive. But, yeah. So I think Susan was maybe talking about some hiring updates when Danielle unceremoniously kicked me off the Zoom call. Now I know how she feels. I thought we had.
Yes, we were, and there isn't much of an update there, but we did have a part-time custodial position that we went through a temp agency to secure very quickly so that we could fulfill that need that we had in the building. So Ben was just commenting on that. I don't know, Ben, if you want to jump in and say anything else.
No, there really, Stephen, nothing glamorous that you missed. It was just a decision that we made.
No attempted coup or anything like that.
No, not unless it involved toilet brushes and floor cleaning. Other than that, no.
Very nice. Very nice.
Ben and I were the temporary custodians for the last week and a half or so we could make it work. So we're glad to have someone on board.
Perfect.
And that's all for me.
Okay, thank you. And there were no action items there, so we'll have some things later with policy, and we'll talk about those in future meetings. That brings us
jump in with a question about those.
Yeah, please go ahead, Tiffany.
I was trying to find the old policies, like what we currently have approved, and those I don't see on our website anymore. And I can't find them in our Google Drive or anything. So, because I'd like to be able to review them. We already had a lot of discussion and approved some of these policies previously. So I'd like to be able to compare them. So maybe Susan, if you have those to send, or whoever has.
Yes,
those.
ma'am. I can send them to the whole board. And that's a good comment. They should be available on our website. So that's something we're going to need to look into. It should be something that people from the public can access as well.
I think the direct links to them probably are gone, but it just as a, you can Google Google CFCI policies and it will get you where you need to go. But Tiffany, I think is right. I don't think there's a direct link anymore to them where there used to be. So they're still online. You just have to kind of backdoor to get to them.
That's great. And I think the very beginning is our charter, right? Like, I don't know if that's section 1000 or if that's something before that, but we can't change. It's not. I see Danielle nodding no. So I know like our charter, we can't change without filing that with the state or whoever we have to file that. So I just want to make sure that we're not trying to change anything that we can't change.
No, we're not looking at the charter.
Okay. All right.
And to kind of, I'm not sure if you're aware of the process that we're going through right now. At one point, the board had contracted with a policy review person that sent kind of some more cookie cutter policies that didn't necessarily apply in full to CFCI. And then there were the old policies. So when I came on board back in January, one of the tasks I was asked to complete was to kind of meld the two together, have the board review all of the policies, and some of them they were approved maybe 12, 13, 14 years ago, and then send them to legal so that we know we're in good standing, and then get all of them approved. So that's where we are. It's very time intensive, and it's something that I don't take lightly, and the PPRC does not either. So I think some of the policies that are coming up in discussions are those that maybe were not approved very recently. But as you go through the policies, if you have questions or you think something would make your read a little bit easier because it's kind of cumbersome to read through all this policy, just let me know, and I'm happy to make notes or identify which policies. A lot of times you'll see on the bottom when they were approved, and that may be an easy way to decipher which you recently went through and feel that you spent the time on, and which you need to revisit and discuss.
Great, thank you very much. And thank you for doing that work. I know that is tedious.
You're welcome.
And for the bathroom work, well, jacks of all trades. So.
Happy to help.
All right, rolling along. This brings us to our monthly vote on masks. So this is just as a reminder, we're, at least for the time being, required by the state to vote on how we choose to go about masking or not masking. And so are there any questions, comments? Danielle, any information you would want to provide for us to inform this vote?
We have not had any recent cases. However, I think today there may be a parent who called our school nurse and said that they tested positive. But we are remaining relatively, at zero. Like it's been very good.
Okay. And I know in the past we've talked about record keeping regarding vaccination rates. If there's been any push on that side, because I thought we had kind of decided perhaps that we were that was underreported, likely because of if there's been any change in that on that front.
It's slowed down actually, because the way that we were finding out about a lot of the vaccinations were when people were sick and we were calling families and they were coming in for testing. So it's slowed down because that was like a really good opportunity for us to get people's vaccination records. So unless people volunteer them, it's hard for us to get them.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds pretty similar to the way things have been going. All right. Any questions for Danielle or anyone regarding this policy? Okay, then I think we would be looking for a motion at this point to presumably continue the mask optional policy. If someone would like to do that, that would be lovely.
This is Tiffany. I'll make that motion.
Thank you. And we'll be looking for a second.
A second.
Thank you, Nancy. And until the state tells us otherwise, this will be a monthly revisiting. And so all in favor of continuing the mask optional policy for another month, raise your hand, say, I can't see everybody's videos, so I'm raising my hand.
Aye.
Thank
Aye.
you.
Aye.
Aye.
Share it. Any opposed? Okay, so the motion passes. I wanted to make just a quick comment. And I was talking to Danielle a little bit about this and Susan as well earlier today. We are this is board member recruitment time. We are having, I don't know if it's unprecedented turnover, but it's a lot of turnover in terms of, I think we have 4, if I remember correctly, it's 4 board members that are rolling off or not continuing with us after this school year. And so we need to fill at least 2 of those spots in order to maintain the minimum, at least the bare minimum size of the board. As of this afternoon, Susan, if you're sending in a board application, it needs to either come to me or to Susan, our HR person who spoke earlier in the meeting. There's instructions on the website about how to do that. You need to send the application to either one of us or to both of us. And we had not received applications at this point, enough applications to be able to fill in those 2 spots at this point. So, I would challenge the board members in particular, myself included. If there are people that are, either in the community, or if there are parents that that you think would be a good fit, that are willing to make the time commitment to serve on the board, this is a great time to approach them. And to encourage them to apply. We typically vote on new board members and review applications and things like that at the May meeting, and so that's just a month away. So ideally we would need to have applications from prospective members in place, about a week or so before the next board meeting. So around May 10th would be sort of ideal. Would be probably the way things need to be. So, I would encourage you guys, teachers, board members, people out in the community, all this kind of things. Hold on one second, if you don't mind. Sorry, there was a strange background noise there for a moment. I would encourage you guys to, reach out to people that and encourage them to consider applying. It's a very it's a pretty gratifying experience to serve on the board. So get to learn a lot about the school and a lot about the community. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We're happy to answer those. Any comments from any of the board members or Danielle or the administration or teachers or anything regarding board member recruitment?
I just know we've been talking about it as a faculty as well, Stephen. We all find it very important work.
It is. It's very. You get to see and learn and find out, know a bunch of stuff and learn about the school in ways new and different and exciting ways. So, yeah, we would encourage you to if you're interested to apply, send in an application. We'd love to chat with you. Move on to board goals. Our primary goal for this year was to talk about one of our key responsibilities as a board is to evaluate the director. So we've been working with Susan to develop an appropriate instrument to evaluate Danielle and making sure that we have that in place moving into the next school year. And so, we're happy to report progress there. And I look forward to hopefully when we do start with our next group of board members in the summer, taking a long hard look at what are our goals as a board, aligning what we do as a board, what our responsibilities are, with the strategic plan, all those kind of things that we've talked about in the past, and look forward to developing some goals for the upcoming school year. So are there any questions or comments or insults or anything like that at this point? Okay. All right. So we are going to take a moment, and I will need a motion. We have a moment to pop into closed session. This is regarding personnel. And so we'll need a motion for that. I would also like to invite a few friends to join us. I believe that's going to be, if I can, Susan, Kim, Lisa Cole. If you could join us in the closed session for that discussion, that would be lovely. And we would just need a motion to go into closed session for personnel matters. And then Danielle, are you going to do the breakout room again?
Yes, I will.
If you can let me join you in there too, that would be great. Okay.
I'll try very hard.
All right. So we'll need a motion to go into closed session.
I move we go into closed session for discussion on personnel.
Thank you. We need a second.
I'll second it.
Thank you, Chuck. All in favor of the movement into close, I guess we're going. Say
Aye.
aye. Okay.
Aye.
I'll see you there momentarily. Nancy might be a minute.
I'm
She's
there.
not. Oh, great. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay. So we are moving on to the director's report. So I'll go ahead and turn that over to Danielle.
Thank you. So it's the time of year where we're heavily focused on next year and getting ready for next year. And kind of looking back, reflecting, thinking about things. What are things that we think have gone really well? What are things that we need to look at improving for next year? And so I just wanted to bring a couple things to the table just to let you know what we're thinking about and talking about as a community. One of the things that has continued to be something challenging is the committee's decision-making and sort of communication process. As you know, shared leadership is complex and has been at times more successful than others. And so really striving to continue that dialogue to figure out how do we make sure that we are doing this in the most effective, efficient way. And so that continues to be a conversation that we're having, and just wanted you to be aware of that. The next thing I wanted you to be aware of is that there's been a lot of conversation over the year about how hard the last few years have been, and they've been hard for everybody and all schools actually, and all teachers. And so the leadership team has really been very mindful of that. In fact, we even got a lot of feedback from teachers at one of our faculty meetings about things that were really causing burnout. And we've had a lot of conversations about, what can we take off teachers' plates? What can we embed in our teacher work days? So some of those work days that we have for next year, what are the things that we could accomplish during those days that would give time back to teachers during the work week and the work day? Because you can't imagine how many different meetings that they get pulled into. And, having said that, it's teaching ends up being a job that can easily take up your time with your family, your weekends, your evenings. And it's just kind of been the business of education. And I think there's a realization that it's not sustainable. It's not sustainable to keep working the way that schools have been working and teachers have been working. So I'm proud that as a school, we're looking at that, and we're trying to find a way to make sure that we keep our great teachers in teaching, and that we try to create a happy, wonderful place for them to work. Because if our faculty is happy and feeling supported, then our students will. And so I think as a board, I know you all already are of that mindset. I know we're always concerned with what our staff and faculty are thinking. And so I just wanted you to know that's something that the leadership team is also spending time talking about. The next topic is strategic planning. We are at a time where we really need to reflect on our strategic plan and start thinking forward about, are we utilizing that strategic plan? Is it an efficient and effective strategic plan? And if not, how can we make it be that way so that it really does guide the work that we do? And so that's something I just want to bring to the forefront, that we need time to reflect on that and to see what changes need to be made so that we make sure that that really does guide the work that we do at the school. And in a short amount of time, we will need to rewrite the plan. And I would suggest that we try to look at a slightly different process so that we end up with a more streamlined plan that can really support the work that we're doing. Any questions on anything so far? I don't want to keep going without giving you an opportunity if you have questions.
Think you're keep on rolling.
Giving adequate pause and wait time like you do in a classroom, so students have a chance to answer and ask questions.
I don't
Okay.
do that. I don't do that in my classroom.
You're like, no questions? Okay, let's move on. All right.
Exactly.
Okay, so budget. We are working on the budget for next year, and we should have it to you for the next board meeting. I want to tell you that we're pretty far through it. We still have to double, triple check lots of stuff, but what it looks like, just to give you an idea, is there's a reduction in revenue that's approximately 1.6 million, which is a lot of money. But that was a lot of money that was coming in through ESSER funding and all kinds of other grants, the CARE Act. And right now, it doesn't look terrible. It doesn't look like, oh my God, we're going to have to cut a whole bunch of stuff. It's almost like an equal reduction in things that we have to or planned on spending with that money that we got. So there are a few things like positions that were funded through there that we actually, through Kim's Smart Planning, has planned for some of that money from ESSER funding to support next year also. So there's places where smart planning is going to pay off. So I just wanted you to know that right now it's looking good, but we're still going through it with a fine tooth comb. And that will be going out to the faculty, to the finance committee, for feedback before it comes to all of you, just to make sure that we're following that process. So any questions before I go on to just letting you know about some stuff coming up in the community? Okay, just wanted to make sure you knew that we sent out the intent to return form and we're getting responses from families. We've asked teachers now to send that out with their weekly communication because we only got about 160 responses, which is good, but we would love to get more so that we just have a better idea. We have a Spirit Week going on this week in honor of Earth Week, which was sponsored by our new music teacher, and just some fun stuff going on. Just wanted you to know we're trying to have some spirit going on in our school. There's a STEM night this week from 5 to 7 and should be a great community event. Hopefully some of you could attend. We have a middle school dance coming up, very exciting, on Friday, April 29th. Our final event for Riptide Runners is around the corner on April 23rd. And our big event, May 7th, is Evening Under the Oaks. Again, that's a fundraiser. We're going to have a silent auction. If you haven't bought tickets, there's links in here for you to spread the word to your friends, to your family. If you have anything that you'd like to donate for the silent auction, that would be awesome. Also, there's a link for that. And last but not least, there's an 8th grade moving on ceremony on June 8th from 6:30 to 7:30. That will be held at the school. So the happy news is that we're getting back to a lot of normal things, and hopefully our health situation will remain at this great place where we can do these things. And just wanted to give you an update on the lottery as the last thing. You can see here, these are the most updated numbers from today's date. So last month we had 66 waitlisted for kindergarten. Now we have 107. So that, just to give you an idea of how to read that. So you can see that we had a slight increase in some places, a big increase in others. One of the grade levels we were a little worried about was 4th grade, and now we've got 22 instead of 13. So I think that's great. And so each month as we roll through, when seats become available, we will see people move from waitlist to accepted and then go through the process of registering their child at our school. And I think that's the end. Any questions for me?
All right, thank you, Danielle. So we're getting close to doing good here. We also got the board committee stuff is up next. That's attachment E to the board, to the agenda document. You're welcome
That's-
to take a look. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say that's where the notes are from every single meeting that we have. And so if anybody has any updates from
Yes, I
there.
was going to open the floor to the various committee representatives if they had anything they wanted to share regarding those PPRC, finance, the others. If not, you're welcome to browse the various materials on your leisure time. Okay. All right. Hearing no commentary or questions or concerns, I would just echo Danielle's invitation to the May event. I've been a naughty boy. I need to buy tickets too, so we'll be there. It would be great for board members to be at the event and support the school. It'd be particularly good for us to be there and to show our face. And not everybody has seen us outside of Zoom, so it would be nice if we're able to attend. And again, I will reiterate the earlier comment about if you know people who might be interested in applying for the board of directors. Again, we are soliciting applications at this point and in need of them. So I would encourage you to reach out to friends and colleagues, whether they're connected to CFCI or not. There's opportunities for both for parents as well, potentially as for community members also. Any other announcements or from Danielle or from any of the other members of the board or of the community at large, or teachers, anything like that? Okay, we made it. All right, I didn't crash the car, so we made it through the meeting. All right, so if there are hearing nothing else, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move that we adjourn the meeting.
Okay. I was like, if you just want to hang out, we can do that too. All right, so I'll need a second from that.
This is Tiffany. I'll second.
All right, all in favor of adjourning indicate by raising your hand or aye. Okay.
Bye.
All right, thank you all so much for joining us tonight. We will see you. We'll see you next month.
Have a good night.
Right.
Yep.
Good night.
Bye.